Today's presentation over a research proposal is by Andrea Harding. The topic is HPV immunization in adolescent males in Oklahoma. A little bit of background on HPV. The human papillomavirus is a virus that is transmitted sexually. Approximately 85% of people will become infected with HPV in their lifetime. A lot of those individuals, in fact, most of them, will either exhibit no symptoms or have mild symptoms, such as genital warts. However, some individuals will have will have some more serious implications for HPV infection, such as cervical cancer. Additionally, HPV is vaccine preventable. A little background on the HPV vaccine. It's available for all adolescents starting at 11 years of age. Adolescents as young as 9 can start the series. However, 11 is the most common age to start. The series is 2 doses. The second is approximately 6 to 12 months after the first, which would potentially coincide with a 12-year-old checkup and immunizations for adolescents. The HPV vaccine is not recommended for anyone over the age of 26. This is because it is shown from studies that individuals who are 26 years of age and older have already built up immunities or have already been exposed to the virus. Therefore, immunization is not as effective in those individuals. In the last 15 years since the immunization has been on the market, it has been noticed that a 40% drop in cervical cancer in women has occurred. And this is due to the fact that the immunization has been widely available. Some historical data for Oklahoma. In 2017, only 38% of adolescent males aged 13 to 17 in Oklahoma had completed the HPV series compared to 46% of females. A few years later, in 2021, those rates raised to 58% in adolescent males and 55% in adolescent females. And while those increasing rates are very promising, it's important to understand why the numbers have changed and to understand potential mitigation methods. The Healthy by 2030 goal is to have approximately 80% of the population immunized for HPV. The primary research goals is to determine the most up-to-date statistics for fully immunized adolescent males to be able to be compared to females. And this is generally based on perceived threat for females who would potentially be at risk for cervical cancer in the future. And that's why the gender difference has been the primary focus of the research. Additionally, the research will give insight into parent hesitancy and provider feedback, which would allow public health professionals to understand just how complex the decision-making process is for the guardians of the adolescents, and understand how the providers are mitigating some of those issues in office or some potential barriers they've seen to immunization for individuals. Finally, some of the less direct benefits of the research would be to improve overall relationships with providers across the state. The research process will begin with researchers who partner with pediatricians and family practitioners across the state. This will be an open invitation, and it will be done through a phone call and an email process from the research team, asking the provider if they would be interested in joining the research process. Partners will then help disseminate the survey to guardians of adolescent age, and so that will primarily focus on 13 to 17-year-olds who meet those criteria for HPV immunization. And this could be individuals who are already fully immunized. It could be guardians of individuals who have not received any number of doses in the series. The overall goal is to get a wide variety of data. The survey is distributed through a REDCap research software. That will be a link sent to it via text or email to the guardians, and the parents will answer questions on a Likert scale of responses that will help understand HPV immunization hesitancy. Researchers will then put together reports to disseminate to pediatricians and family practitioners, just with a general understanding of HPV immunization hesitancy. The report will also be made public at county health departments and on the state website. As far as data collection goes, it will be collected for 1 year. That will allow every individual who's going for their yearly checkup to be able to participate in the survey process. It'll allow for parents who have maybe had a checkup in March to be able to then participate in the survey because lives are busy, and they can participate for up to a year post that, just depending on whenever the research stops. So if the research were to stop in December, they would have several months to fill that out. Data will be run through SAS programming to determine correlation between outlooks with a chi-square analysis, just to understand how many or what the correlation is between different types of perceived threat per the gender, and this will be done on the gender binary. And that will help us understand a little bit more about some of the HPV immunization hesitancy. The knowledge outcome that we hope to see from this study will be overall general immunization rates in males and females. The other outcomes would be gaps in public knowledge to understand how well the public understands human papillomavirus and how they will be able to make decisions based on that knowledge of the virus and the vaccine safety. And then it will help understand some of the areas for intervention, if those interventions are education on the virus itself or the immunization. It will help providers to understand where the barriers lie within the general population, to understand how conversations in the provider's office can be held to either encourage immunization for HPV, or at least help everyone to make an informed consent. That way, individuals are given the best shot at having fully immunized patients, and allowing us to look towards that Healthy People 2030 goal of 80%.